Huh?
We're on.
Are we on?
Go. No, it's fine. Go.
No, the one hole that killed me, I told Joe, I hit like 6 over. It destroyed my whole score.
That's what happens in golf. Kills
Literally,
you.
it was like the
one or
eighth
two,
hole.
one or two holes can just completely kill your scorecard. You could be playing bogey golf all day, and then all of a sudden you hit 100. From
There was
one
one
hole.
guy.
Gentleman sport, yeah.
A gentleman's sport.
That's what is that?
Well,
Isn't,
it
that,
is,
isn't
yeah.
that what we call it?
I'll tell you
Is
the
it
other
not?
thing.
I know. I'm asking you.
No, it is.
I'll tell
I
you the
didn't
other
play
thing.
it.
Angel's in a filthy mood today, by the way.
I am?
About
No,
this game.
we spoke today. Well, good.
No, about the game.
About the game, yeah. Where?
Yeah,
Me and Jules had discussions.
He's filthy.
Me and Jules had
Paul and I,
discussions.
same wavelength.
Same wavelength today, me and Jules.
Except about one thing, which I'm going to bring up, which I know you're on my wavelength of, and he ain't.
TDK.
Yeah, correct.
Listen to this, though. I didn't know, because I haven't played much golf on the course, yeah? I didn't know that you can't speak when they...
No shit.
One guy... Because
What on earth? Who are you playing with?
No, we had a group
Oh.
of 3, and obviously we had a random as the 4th.
And you're talking while they're trying to hit.
At the start, I was just joking around, this, that, and the guy's trying to hit.
Nah. Did you go off here?
Nah, I learnt my lesson.
Yeah, good. I hope you did. What do you mean you're talking? Welcome, everyone, to episode 153 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, part of the Blue Broad Media Network in 2025 and proudly powered by the beautiful Mavros Studios here in Preston. Sponsored by 3099 Jerky, St. David Dairy, and Vortep. Boys are wearing the T-shirts. I've got the jumper up here, and if you're an Almost Blues Brothers listener, you can get 10% off at vortep.com.au at the counter with the code Almost Blues Brothers.
You're not putting up the retro jacket.
No,
today.
I actually had my white T-shirt on, but I was making olives today, and I spilled oil, vinegar all over it. So I thought it's way too hot to wear a jumper in here. I don't know how you're wearing a long sleeve, but that's the crew neck hoodie
I'm
that
calm.
I've got in the background there. It's because you're calm.
Calm before the storm.
See how calm you are by the end of this. Go on, continue. Well, continue with your weekend. You can tell them. Obviously, they caught the tail end of it,
I
but
got a little intro. I had a mate's birthday, so we played 18 holes at Yarra Bend.
where I got my hole in one, you saw the hole.
I saw the hole. I didn't see you hit it.
No, but you saw the hole.
I saw the hole.
Is it not impressive?
That's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
You said a lucky shot. When we were
It's
on the
actually a
phone.
lot. It's
today.
actually a lot harder. The concept of hitting a hole in one.
It's ridiculous.
when you're there. But there's a massive element of luck.
No shit.
Like the biggest element of luck.
You clearly need to know how to hit a golf ball, but the majority of it is luck. I have said that the whole time.
Like you
That's
need
the first
wind.
time I've heard that. No.
No, I've never ever said anything else other than it takes a lot of luck for that ball
Jules,
to go
like
in.
you need it. Like the wind needs to go your way.
Everything. Yeah, everything. You know, I got my hole in one the same day as your birthday. So every time your birthday comes up, that's the anniversary. Actually, yeah. Anyway, so what'd you hit?
100, which wasn't good.
Did you take every shot?
No, yes, I did. Yep, I didn't. I even took an out of bounds, which is 3.
It's not 3.
How much is it?
It should just be like 2.
I took 3 then, so I actually shot 99.
Skeptical. Until you play with me and until I see it actually happen, I don't care.
Anyway, one of the blokes birdied, actually the birthday guy, Tommy, he birdied this hole where he literally put it through 2 trees. And you know how hard that is to do. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, no, I do.
Stop reading the comments. What?
I'm trying
For
to run the show.
360
I'm
feedback,
trying to run
I'm
the
going to
show.
bring up some stuff.
I'm trying to run the show.
I'm telling
See,
you.
this is why you don't host and why you don't host, because you don't understand that there's other things that happen while you speak. I am still listening.
Yeah, but when it's a conversation, you look at people.
it's
Like
respect.
Jules does it.
Respect.
You're not doing this and this.
brought up
You're
differently.
just doing that. You're just looking at, I've got to look here, I've got to look there, I've got to set up the whole studio, I've got to come in an hour early, and I just get abused as you walk in 3 minutes before the podcast and you want to abuse me. Not happening. Anyway, that's your thing done. Simo's in the chat tonight, and he had some words for me during the week. But you go. What happened in?
What's Simo saying?
What happened
As
in
in
your
his
weekend?
he's
I'm
come-
ignoring Daniel Simonovsky tonight. Go. And he better be very careful because Collingwood copped it last night. So if he wants to go, I'm more than happy. Go.
Just went to Steph's house last night. So my sister, Reese was there. He obviously been on the show before, or quite a bit actually. Yeah, chilled over there, had some pizza. It was good.
Good.
Nice calm one.
Actually, Reese invited me over for the game.
Yeah, he did. He was saying.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
to Corey's instead. My cousin Corey's been on the show.
Yep. There you go. We're a tight knit group.
We are. We keep it very
We
tight.
keep it in the family.
I was.
Nah.
Other than that, I was making olives. I said to Jules today. That's why I called you earlier today to see if you wanted to come make some olives. You were working.
You called me? Oh, did you call? Is that why you called me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was about the podcast 7 p.m.
No.
I actually got a good secret with the. It's probably not a secret, but you know the olives. Do you know the secret to know how the water's salted well enough?
Go on.
Do you know?
If it's got salt in it.
No.
Go
Because
on.
how do you know how much? Because there's a quantity of salt that you need to have to preserve the olives.
An egg.
Well done. You listened last time.
Yeah.
For the buoyancy.
There we go.
Good.
For
You put an
buoyancy.
egg in there. If the egg floats, it means you got enough salt.
Yeah.
No.
The calc is about 10%. It should be about 10% salt. So,
And how do you work that out?
Correct.
what do you mean?
Use an egg.
Hold on.
Exactly right. You need the egg.
Okay. If you've got a litre of water, what's 10% of that? 100 mil?
Yeah, but in terms of weight, they
100
both
grams.
they both weigh differently.
Milligrams, same.
The thing is, you
It's actually
think
the
it's
same.
you think it's 10%. I put the egg in there and I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, me, your old man, my old man, we shifted 3,000 olives today. We got 38 jars.
It's actually very good.
and we did it in an hour.
My dad with his shoulders.
I know how did he
Nah,
do
when
it?
I say shifted, I mean like Dad had already picked them all. We jarred them today. We
Oh,
put
so
them in
you-
the oil and that.
So,
So
you did the easy part.
yeah, your dad came in for the easy part as he usually does. He'll be watching too. So shout out to Silk Designer. But it was good. It was a good day. That was it. And then
Comment on these cookies.
cookies are really good. Shout out to Belen, Jules' partner. They are fantastic.
Oh, they're very good. She
Very,
made
very
some
good.
yesterday. She
I
made
said-
more today.
When he brought in a thing of foil, I was going, what's
Said to Jules, I go, he's going to reap the benefits now because she's going to be craving things and Jules is just going to take the leftovers. She'll be baking, making everything.
all right. Without any further ado.
Oh, let's get into it.
I've had a week. just anyway. All right. Disappointing. When we thought they were on the right track, they took 2 steps forward, 5 steps back this week. And it's not to say that the season's done and dusted, but that was as disappointing a performance as we've seen for a while. Adelaide, 16-14, 110, beat the Blues by 10 goals, 7-8-50. Goal kickers for the Blues only had 4. Motlop with 1. Cripps, Curnow, Durden, 2 each. No injuries. Lockie Cowan was the sub, replaced Lockie Fogarty at 3/4 time. Where do you want to start? I don't care.
You started with a word perfectly to sum up the game, which disappointing. It was. We did say, and I said last week that I wanted to see what we saw against Geelong against a midfield that would test us, and we got absolutely battered in the midfield.
Yeah, especially
Destroyed.
in the centre clearances. Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like as if, and we were speaking on the phone today, Paysan, in relation to in relation to the game, and I felt like as if, and we said it pretty much at exactly the same time, that we sort of lost the game almost before it even started. I felt with selection, so I feel like as if we're going to have a conversation, I think we need to start there.
Definitely.
The 3 ins were Cowan, obviously he was sub. Then you had Doc and Young. Obviously, it's in hindsight now, but in terms of those selections, I just don't think, obviously, once we did lose the midfield battle, we're going to be able to move the ball up off the half-back flank
So
with the personnel that we did have.
So can I cut you off there just to say that I looked at the selection and I thought, okay, I did not think that Cowan was going to be the sub.
Nope, not at all.
For me, when he
I
was
didn't think that
named,
either.
that there, I did not expect him to be named as a sub. And then I saw obviously Doc and Young, and I just thought, here we go again with the same names being selected for the sake of being selected. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yep.
It really did. And then I looked at it and went, okay, have we genuinely got a depth issue?
Did we not speak about this last week?
Correct.
Did we not literally speak about this last week for about 10 minutes where I said, I have massive concerns on our depth? You were saying you weren't as concerned because you thought it wasn't, that it would stack up.
I think we had. Because I knew I was going to bring up this conversation, and obviously we're going to start the conversation about it. But you got Doc and Young in and Cowan. I feel like if you could have brought a Cowan in, I think that's not an issue. I think he stacks up.
Yeah.
Then there's a Boyd. So I think if you have Young and Doc out, and you have Cowan and Boyd,
You got to run out of your back half.
got run out of the back half, and even if you do lose the ball, in terms of centre clearances, and they're sort of they're winning that, I guess, the territory battle. At least we're going to be able to try and move the ball and transition from our D50 and get the ball up the park.
Just shuffle around.
The issue is this.
Just shuffle around that way.
J Sauce.
Oh, it's massive.
Young does not replace J Sauce.
Nope, doesn't.
Simple as that.
But
not just from a defending standpoint, from a ball use.
Yeah, ball use.
And that's why I'm saying, like, in the likes of, like, especially a Boyd, that's what he gives you. So you're taking one player out, and yeah, you can sort of try and move the magnets, but I don't think we needed a fourth tall, especially a young fourth tall, like a player like Young. So I just didn't think we needed that, and the thing for me, even the sub, I still wouldn't even have gone with a Doc as a sub. I would have gone with a Bins, because he brings and gives you that run, and
at least he gives some run. That's true.
And it's not like as if he hasn't performed when he had come in at level. I don't really know what he's performing in at VFL level like currently, to be fair, but. Didn't he win? Wasn't he in like the VFL team like what, a couple of years ago? 2 years ago?
He's the only player from our list.
Yeah, but my concern
So
is
it's not like
this.
as if it's not like as if he hasn't performed that level already, and you don't know what he's capable of doing.
But the issue is, boys, is that we're not. If we are like, we're selecting a Young and we're selecting a Doc, and a Doc who we're saying that the game is essentially past him. It seems okay. We bring in a Moya, all right, or a Bins, and they last one game and they're out. They have to have enough time to show what they can do.
3-4 games
Easily.
minimum.
And that's our issue. That's why Voss isn't relying on or calling up these players, because they're in and out. You can't.
Yeah, and the thing is, even with Doc, like, he played a couple of games, and by all reports, and even like I haven't obviously seen too much vision, but he did play well in terms of numbers. But when I watch him, I feel like as if he doesn't want it.
Doc.
When he goes into the contest, when he's moving, and I think Doc and Akers, I could be wrong, they had about 25 possessions between them, and like 400 or so meters gained.
Yeah,
that's essentially that's pretty bad, especially for two wingers. Yeah, that's combined. That's arguably like an average winger, what they should be doing: 20, 25, and 450 meters gained. So when that happens, it's like, what run and penetration are you getting, especially from those players?
So going then to the start of the game.
Were you shocked that we lost?
I knew we were going to lose.
What did I say to you before the game?
Yeah, you said we're going to get slapped.
Slapped.
He actually said we're going to get slapped.
Those words. We are going to get slapped. I'm just going to put it down to this. We don't match up well against them. That's it. We match up well against Geelong. Geelong don't match up well against us. We've got them covered, it seems, at the moment. We, for the last 4 years, have not been able to match Adelaide. It's just, for whatever reason, whether it's here, whether it's there, their run and carry, their spread, the profile of the 22 that they put out each time they come up against us, I look at it and go, we can't match what they've got. We just can't.
In terms of what, though?
It doesn't.
In terms of their leg speed, in terms of their run and carry out of stoppage, in terms of all that sort of stuff that we can't nullify because we're just not quick enough.
But they worked a lot harder to create options.
Well,
we simply did not meet their work rate.
I also said to you pre-game, I go, if they work out our stoppage game and our clearance game, they get on top of us there, we've got nothing. They killed us.
Yeah, but that's every team.
True or not?
Definitely.
Yeah, but they're an attacking team. It's a bit different. They are a very, very attacking side.
No,
So
I agree.
Against a side like that, if you can't get, I know you're going to talk about first use, but if you can't get clean first use out of stoppage and be as efficient as you can there, like we were against Geelong, gaining territory and all that sort of stuff, forget it. It's done.
Yeah,
It's a way to defend. For us to win, if teams have momentum, for us to win the stoppage and clearance, that's a way for us to defend them. And then get the ascendancy to be able to then get territory.
Absolutely, but if we're just going to hang our hat on that one part of the game and then apply pressure inside our forward 50 and keep the ball in there, and obviously play the repeat entry game as well, I don't think that's enough to be top four or win premierships.
No, for sure.
The game is past that. You need different facets, and one of them is transition, and we couldn't transition the ball yesterday against Adelaide.
$5 donation from LS. Thank you very much, mate. This year is cooked. We need to play the kids and cop the growing pains so that we're in a better position next season. Akers, Gov, Doc, Young, Mott's gone. Might be a bit early, but fair enough. Look, that's,
Motlop hasn't shown enough. We'll talk about him
we'll
later.
talk about
I
players.
want to
in a
bring
minute.
him
We'll
up.
talk about players in a minute. Can we go to while we're on clearance, because it's where we lost the game, right? Because it's where we win our games. Is it clearance, and it's a contest, and it's a pressure. We spoke about it last week. We know what our profile is: pressure, contest, territory. Yeah, if we're not on, if we can't at least rely on that on game day, anyone's going to beat us. That is what it is, right? It's the makeup of our list. It's the profile that we've got. It's what we need to play to. Yesterday, clearance numbers, we got absolutely smashed.
Well, centre clearances, it was 16-6. I actually think clearances, it was by the end of the game, it was, in terms of stoppage clearances included, it was pretty much breaking even.
What was contested ball?
Contested.
No, they beat Joe.
I'm pretty sure
they
they
beat
beat
us
us.
by contested
No,
ball
they
by like
bet
30 or
us.
20.
Yeah.
Uncontested possession
it was-
all game.
it was like-
they
yeah,
were dominating.
they
They
were
were
plus
plus
63.
They were plus
They had plus
44
63.
in total disposals in the first 15 minutes of the game.
I think I messaged you,
What?
Joe, all game.
How?
They were plus 70 in uncontested ball. They were just working harder to make options.
So they
and
were-
we weren't matching that.
They were plus 17 million in contested ball, but they were plus 63 in
Yeah,
uncontested ball.
ball.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
So they're getting it out of stoppage. They get, like I said, straight out to their runners, and off they go. We couldn't catch them, couldn't stay with them.
Yeah, but this is where it goes back to personnel though. If you had like a Bins and you had an Ollie Hollands up high up the park, and you had Boyd and Cowan in defence instead, then all get like that capacity in terms of trying to close down space and move the footy, it helps because they're the types of players that actually do it. And you can go in terms of clearances and especially centre clearances, and in terms of like clearances, we actually had first use half the time. So it wasn't like as if it was totally clean on their terms in terms of getting the first possession of the ball coming out of a contest, coming out of a clearance. We just didn't use it well enough. We fumbled. We got the ball smothered, which happens countless times. I even remember TDK trying to put the ball in his boot, totally missed his foot. Things like that. So the structure around the contest, especially in clearance, we got manhandled because of our lack of structure and awareness of where we should be positioning our players.
But in those clearances and in the stoppages, there wasn't enough grit to get it back on our terms. There wasn't enough grit. And is that a coaching thing to get another man in a stoppage to try and create numbers in there?
Maybe it is because
do you
it felt.
see it
It
as that?
actually
'Cause I felt like that.
It actually felt like we were outnumbered at every single contest all day. It just felt like Adelaide had an extra one or two wherever the ball was, and we were just we were nowhere.
I just thought to fight, we just had to fight it back to get it on our terms to start to then.
That probably is a coaching
I see
decision
it
on
as
the
that,
day.
yeah.
I tend to agree with that. Probably didn't move the magnets enough
Yeah, I don't know.
He did
in
in
terms
the
of,
Why look at me like that?
because we're on the same page.
I don't know. In terms of like, I mean, you're talking about in terms of like trying to claw it back. In terms of tackles, like Cripps and Chera had 5 and 3, Dawson had 8, Peatling had 5. So it wasn't like as if in there that Walsh had 3. There's a majority of the Carlton players.
Paysan. Walsh had 6 touches by half time. Ches had 7
yeah.
touches by
Chera
half
as
time.
well. Yeah,
That is not good enough.
Adelaide completely, and again, you have to. I'm not saying you guys have to, but there's 2 teams out there. For me, you got to give full credit to Adelaide. They did their homework. They knew what they needed to beat us in. They absolutely nailed us. They played their game to perfection. And they nullified our game to perfection. That was it. On the day, we couldn't get going. They didn't allow us to get going because, again, obviously we were very, very poor. But Adelaide did not allow us to get going. And the way that we get going is through pressure, contest, territory. They didn't give us an inch all
You
day.
could see from minute 1, it was lackluster.
I don't
It
know.
was.
For me, that's a concern. Not now knowing, but knowing that, and even the players, knowing that if we can't put together that type of body of work, then we're pretty much going to lose.
In terms of your midfield.
In terms of the midfield battle, we lose the midfield battle. See you later.
Yeah,
That's a massive concern for
100%,
me.
100%.
Considering the types of some of the types of the defenders that we do have, and some of the forwards that we do have. For me, that's concerning.
Yeah.
The biggest
because some of the talent that we have at both ends of the
But
park.
I think the
that's
competition-
concerning.
The biggest concern for me is how are we losing the midfield battle that comprehensively with the talent that we've got in the midfield? That's the part I don't get.
But you
they
can't-
show up 1 week, they dominate Geelong.
But Joe,
they
you
show up the
can't-
next, and they can't even
Yeah,
get
but
their
Geelong
hands
can't
on
have
it.
a
question?
midfield
Can I
like
ask you a question?
Adelaide.
No, they don't.
You at work Monday to Friday. Do you rock up every single day, every single hour, every single minute? Do you rock up to work?
What do you mean?
I'm asking you. Do you rock up to work every single hour, every single minute, every single day?
Well,
yes or no? To your best of your ability.
You try to be at the best of your ability, yes. But the
do you?
reality is no. Yeah.
Do you?
Yep, I reckon I do.
No chance.
I know you have your dips, but anyway.
I genuinely do.
You have your dips.
No chance.
Because you call me all the time when
Yeah.
you're stressed and you go,
Things frustrate me.
Yeah.
but I'm still performing.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because footy is no different. There's no chance that our midfield is going to win every single game.
No, that's true.
So that's why you've got to have different elements of your game to be able to go to. But we don't have that, obviously.
Or understand how to claw it back to be able to then dominate that area. We didn't do that, Jules.
But even then, like,
There was no changing of, as Joe mentioned, there's no changing of magnets to get to understand, okay, how do we bring this back on our terms, or how do we make it an arm wrestle? Because it wasn't an arm wrestle all day.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. We didn't even make it at one stage. There was no element to go, okay, maybe momentum is shifting. It
Yeah,
didn't.
but
They didn't even
it's-
look like it.
Yeah.
it's pretty difficult when you have a few passengers out there, though.
Well, we named the passengers at the start of the game.
Yeah, and you have 2, 3, 4 of them, and then see you later.
Still doesn't dictate the ability for Chera to not get on the footy, for Walsh to not get on the, like, do you know what I mean? Like, for them not to get the ball use. TDK got smashed in the hitouts all day, destroyed. You know why as well? Lewis Young's second ruck, disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting.
Why is Harry Mackay not going in there?
should be. I agree,
Yeah.
100%.
And that's another thing in terms of the ins and outs.
Waste of time. it was.
So, all right. Let's just go there now. We're 20 minutes in, but we haven't. I have not discussed it all year. We did it all year last year with TDK, right? And 1 ruck, 2 ruck system, this and that, blah blah blah. We moved on from that. Clearly, he's a sole ruck. That's fine. I want to talk about this, but I want to set this up from the. Let's set this up from the context of the player that TDK is being spoken as. Okay, I love Tom. I'd love him to stay. I really would. Deep down, I'd love him to stay.
I don't think that's the conversation, though.
No, hold on.
I know what you're saying.
I'd love him to stay.
not the conversation.
I'd love
I
know
him-
what
hold
Jules
on,
is
hold
gonna-
on. I'd
yeah.
love him to stay. But if you're being touted as a game changer, because he is, if you're being touted as a 1.2, 1.3, 1.7 million dollar player a year, right? If you're being touted by arguably the best ruck of this generation in Max Gawn as the future of football, not just Carlton, of footy, right? For me, I'm expecting a player like that to perform every single week.
Okay.
You have to change it. Hold on. Let me finish. You have to be a game changer. You have to be a match winner. He hasn't done that for a single week this year. It's 8 weeks now. Not 1 week
right.
has he won us a game.
But you could go through.
Not
You're
one
gonna
week.
bring up Tim English
What do you
this
mean?
week. Is that where you're going with, or are you just saying in general?
I'm saying,
That's TDK?
for me, I look at 4 matchups: Meek, English, O'Brien, and who was the 4th one I gave you? Fucking
Nankervis.
No, it wasn't Nankervis. Darcy Cameron. Those 4 got towelled up, had his colours lowered by 4 ruckmen that aren't on $1.2 million a year, $1.3 million a year, that aren't commanding this. And I know what your argument is. It's what the market is saying he's worth. I get that. But for us to keep him, it's what we're going to have to pay. Personally, I'm not paying Tom at the moment 1.2 mil to stay. I'm just not.
You're not paying him.
I know I'm not paying. That was very good for his show when he said that. But if I'm list management, I'd rather spend that money on. We've just spoken for 20 minutes about run and gun and transition and better ball use and all that. I'd rather spend 1.2 million to go get 2 good ball users out of the back half.
All right, but I could
And
go.
small forwards.
Or a small
I
forward.
reckon I could go through half the competition, almost half the competition, and say they're not worth that much.
He's a ruckman. He got towelled up. He's been towelled up a handful of times now, right?
In terms of this year,
He
I
has
reckon
been.
that's the only game that he's been comprehensively towed up.
Comprehensively,
in terms
yeah.
and in terms of the other games, if you actually go back and actually have a look at them, TDK isn't a hit out ruckman. That's not what he is. He's not a hit out ruckman.
I understand that. But
He's a totally different ruckman to what you're thinking he is.
I completely understand
And-
that, but when
and-
he has a game where he's got 17 disposals, whatever it was, and 8 of them were direct turnovers, 8 of them were direct turnovers, direct. 3 of them resulted in a goal going the other way. What is he bringing? If he's not a traditional ruckman if he's not giving our mids first use from 14 hitouts.
But they had
to
half.
40.
The thing is, though, Joe, and I'll go to it again, and I'll say it multiple times. First use, same amount of times. What players are doing, they already know, and you know this because you watch White. The opposition teams already know that if you're playing Carlton, they're going to tap it here. If you're playing Western Bulldogs, they're going to tap it here.
Of course.
So the opposition players are reading, and they know all the different cues of where the ball's going to go, depending on where the ball's being tossed up.
I understand what you're saying.
So that type of the game is irrelevant that you're bringing up.
So we just
It's
spoke.
practically
We just spoke
irrelevant.
about the fact that our midfielders got towed up, that they didn't do their job at stoppage.
When
But-
Walsh and
But hold on,
when
but hold on,
Walsh and
hold on,
Chera
hold on. But they evened up-
when Walsh and Chera are having 6 touches up
They-
to half
but
time,
we
I'm
even-
pretty sure there's bigger issues.
But we
they
even-
shouldn't be on the money
but
that
we
they're
even- but we-
they're on.
But we even
they shouldn't be on the money.
But
that
we
they're on
evened
there.
up first use 50-50 with Adelaide winning 40 hitouts. So who's doing the job and who's not? Because if Tom wasn't giving our mids
I'm not
first
saying-
use,
I'm not saying-
surely our mid,
I'm
if our
not
mids are
saying-
sharking
But I'm
O'Brien
not saying.
all day,
I'm not saying that TDK had a great game.
he had a shocking game.
He did,
and it's not the first
but
time.
I'm not saying that. But the
Does he
midfield
kick
battle
goals?
wasn't won or lost
Does
with
he kick
TDK.
goals? Does he kick goals? I watched Tim English in the game prior kick 3.
Joe, the midfield battle wasn't won because of TDK. Won or lost because of TDK.
I understand
It was
that.
won and lost because Chera and Walsh did not rock up
You're
for a
tell-
half.
so you're
for
telling me-
a whole
you're
game.
telling me if Tom-
that's the reason
you're
why.
telling me-
And Cripps couldn't go with these.
Correct,
direct
man.
so hold
He
on.
could,
So-
mate, Cripps' pressure, he kicked 2 goals, had 24, 25 touches. Where was the pressure? Even Hewitt was very quiet.
So you're
All
telling-
our midfield was quiet.
You're telling me that if Tom isn't more effective as a ruckman in that game against O'Brien and nullifying what he was doing, that our midfielders wouldn't have been able to get a better look at getting cleaner first and second possession. Is that what you're telling me?
The first use was exactly the same, Joe.
But it's not about the first use, because first use there is coming from the midfielders having to shark 40 hitouts. Shark it. So they're not set up for what we wanted
Tom's
to
gonna
do,
do.
what we planned on doing. They're now setting up for, where's O'Brien going to put this ball?
So when teams played Melbourne, for example, and they went in centre clearances, and Gawn's the dominant ruckman, winning all the hitouts, but they lose the clearances. What do you think they're doing? They're sharking them.
But this is my point. Gawn, as good as he is, and as good as he's been for the Melbourne Football Club, and the fact that he basically won them that final series in that flag off his own boot in that prelim, right? For as good as he is as a ruckman, for me, I set this up with the context at the start of this. I'll let you speak in a minute. I set this up with the context of we're talking about a player that we are potentially going to have to tie so much salary cap to.
But
when we're saying we've got other issues, including run and gun, speed on the ball, kicking efficiency.
Do you want to talk about it in terms of the game, or are you talking about it in terms of the whole context of the season and list and everything like that?
I'm talking
Because
about-
they're totally two different things, Joe.
but I'm using the game. I'm using this game as an example to show that
They're
when we-
two different things, though, Joe.
But it's not though, because it
Nah,
still
he
plays
messaged
into
me
it.
during the game and he goes,
It still plays into
for
it.
this output, for example, you're not paying 1.7.
You can't.
Mate,
When-
I could go through the only player on our list this season that's worth, plus probably should get more at the moment, is Hewitt. Everyone else should be paid unders.
Wiedering.
What we're doing.
Yeah, and Reader.
Wieders, I would.
But other than that, everyone should be paid unders. So if you want to go into this argument,
But hold on.
we can go back and forth
but
all
when,
the time.
But when has Tom been a match winner? When has Tom been a game changer consistently? He hasn't. I don't care what anyone says.
Joe,
he had a patch
you know
of
how
4 weeks last year where he came up against dire ruckman and dire midfielders where he looked really, really good. Since then, I watch him every week. Like I said, I want him to stay. I can see the value that he adds, but not at 1.3, 1.4.
But that's a
whatever
totally
the money
different
is.
argument then, though.
How is that's the argument I'm putting forward?
Because, mate, we're judging him off his performances now. Okay?
As it should be.
Yeah, but whether he's 1.3, 1.2, 1.7, 1 million, like, that's not up to us.
But is the
We can't-
question not, does he want to
But
be
it
at
is,
the club?
hold on,
but
it
is the
is up to
question
us
not
because we can say,
It's not up to us.
you know what?
Because the AFL, you know how the AFL works. Ben Mackay's on 1.5 million or whatever he's on at the moment.
Hold on.
Like, he's not even half of
Yeah,
his
but hold
price.
on. So,
player,
okay.
yeah. Like,
okay,
do you
but
know
hold
what I
on.
mean?
But
Like-
so hold on. Is that not poor list management from Essendon?
100% it is.
Right, so my point is-
100% it
my
is.
point
But
is-
we haven't signed him up for 1.1 or 1.2
I
yet.
understand, and I'm saying
So I don't. So, like, there's no, like, what's the argument?
the argument
We
is
haven't done it.
The argument is if we do, because the way that it's tracking is that we're going to have to keep him, right? We're going to have to keep him. If we do, I'll be disappointed at this point.
But you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
I will be disappointed
Well,
if we do.
the question is he committed to the club?
Well, yeah, is he?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the biggest thing. Is the question mark over his head based on what St Kilda have offered is, do we actually need clarity that this guy's going to stay at the club?
At this point, you'd hope so. He's been asked about it 2-3 times already this season. And it's the same standard answer. Manager's working on it. We'll sort that out.
Yeah,
at the end
and
of the
if the
year.
list manager and the club are actually serious, they're having even more serious conversations with Tom about what he's
I'll put it to
worth.
you this
All
way.
players do that.
I'll put it to
Yeah,
you
but
this
it's
way.
about, isn't the club then going to have more
Can I ask you a question?
more serious conversations, Jules?
If I'm 24, 20, how old is he? 25? If I'm 25 years old, okay, and I'm thinking about what I want to do as a player, whether it's earn more money, play at a bigger club, play at probably a better club, to be honest with you, because we're not there. We're not there. If I'm him,
But he's not going to bigger and better clubs. He's going to St Kilda. Seriously.
yeah, but you don't know. You don't know that. Geelong could be after him. You don't know.
Geelong could be after him, but right now...
you don't know.
No, but the one...
For me, if I'm him, I'm going to
Jules,
Geelong.
you're going on reports, though.
Yes or no?
Yeah, but aren't you Carlton saying, are you staying or are you not? Aren't you being aggressive with that to actually understand are you staying?
As a list manager, as someone that's looking after the cap, you're saying it's not up to us. It absolutely is. Because I'd be saying to him, Tom, if you're going to stay, it's 900, mate.
Correct.
Like the rest of them took.
I'd be dictating
And if he doesn't
it if I
want
was
to,
Carlton.
off you go.
To be honest with you, I think this 900 for some of the players, I actually think it's too much in terms of the context of list management and trying to attract other players that we need. Because we can't do it. We have too many players that are on 7, 8, 900,000.
So then you're agreeing then that he's not worth what we have to pay to keep him.
I wouldn't pay that much.
Right, that's the point. That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't pay that much.
That's all I'm saying.
But the argument isn't there because we haven't paid him that much.
No, but Jules, come on, listen. The discussion is when it comes down to brass taxes, right? We have to pay to keep him. Right now, based on the sample size we've got of this season and what he did last year, right?
But you don't know what we're going to give him, Joe.
He's injury prone. He's not performing to that level. He's not consistently. I don't care what anyone says. He's not. If we're going to be a brutal midfield, you're going to base your entire game plan around Tom, because that's where it starts and ends with him, right? As an extra midfielder, as that battering ram, as that ruckman that can change the game. If you're going to base your entire profile around him for the next 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, you would be expecting more than what we've seen right now. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's the
money.
question. Yes or no? And if it's not, if
we're not
if
paying him that money.
No, but this is the thing. But it's up to Carlton. Carlton need to go and present a
Absolutely.
contract and go, Tom, if you are committed to Carlton Football Club, this is what we're offering you. If you're not interested in that, see you later. And make it transparent.
I agree.
That's it. And
I
that solves
agree.
everyone's argument. And then we're not judging him and going, hey, why is his performance so lackluster?
But you're judging him off 1.2 and he's not on that.
right now.
But do you understand what I'm trying to say? You're trying to judge him off. You're trying to predict it, and you're trying to judge him off 1.2. He's not on 1.2. He's not a $1.2 million player. He's not earning that money.
Right
but you're
now,
judging
no.
him on that.
Right now, no.
He's probably on 500.
Yeah, right now, absolutely.
So what do you want? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say.
You're trying to go.
It's because the question mark over his head is 1.7.
That is the
so
price
put him
tag.
to account. Put him and go. If
Hold
you
him to
want
account.
1.7, go.
Do you
Hold
know?
him to account.
Do you know?
have to.
Do you know what conversations have been had between his management and the club?
Well, all I'm saying is his name gets brought up a lot. So by now, I'd want to know if he's going to be a Carlton player or if he's not.
But how many players wait until the bye? Wait until round 16, 17.
Of course.
Then make an announcement.
Of course.
We're at round 8.
I hope he says he's signed. I
you know
hope
what
he
I mean?
says he's
Like-
signed. I really do. I hope he says, I'm committed to the Carlton Football Club for the next 6 years. I hope he does.
Honestly,
This is how I
many
look at
times?
it. This is how I look at it. Pito signed for 4 years on $500K a year last year, and everyone went, oh, fuck, why are we doing that when we got Tom? We kept Hudson O'Keefe on the list, who's a prototype of Tom de Koning, and we parted with our first round pick this year like it was nothing. Drop the hat to go get Jagger Smith. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. He's gone. So it's twofold. He's not playing as a ruckman for us that's worth 1.7, and he's not checked into the club right now. That's how I'm looking at it from the outside.
So you reckon TDK is gone?
I think, how many times have I said
When
this
did
to
we
you?
sign? When did we sign Pito?
I think last year.
Last year we did.
We signed
List
Pito
management,
last
and
year.
I'm
We
telling you
did 4
now,
years.
list managers, they look 3, 4, 5 years ahead. You've kept a prototype TDK on your list in Hudson O'Keefe that you want to still keep
Well, I'll
developing.
put it this way.
And you've
I
got
reckon
Pito on a
Carlton,
4-year,
if that's the
$500,000 a year
case,
contract.
Carlton, I'll put it this way. If Carlton did that, it's because they didn't want to keep him.
One or the other. I don't care what the reason. I don't care
because of
The moves they're gonna
No,
make.
because they've already signed Charlie, Harry, Walsh, Wiedering, and Cripps on $700,000-$900,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's the
but,
reason
hey,
why.
you know
And now you can't keep certain players.
the cap is
Were
actually.
you thinking that Carlton thought that his value was going to be this high?
No, I don't reckon
Correct.
so.
That's right.
I agree.
Correct. That's right.
Correct.
Carlton did not anticipate
So what
that
I'm
his value
saying
was
is,
going to be this
I
high.
don't think this is a TDK problem. This is a list management problem in terms of spending money on players.
Oh, that's
and on
that's
Cripps,
evident.
Weeders, Harry, Charlie, and to be fair, even Charlie, mate, he missed 2 years and he was getting 700.
That's evident.
Harry's missed in the last 2-3 years. What?
That's
Probably
evident.
a year and a
the
half.
point,
of
and you know
footy.
what? It ties into the point again. Do
Walsh,
wanna,
how many
do
games
we,
has he
do we
missed?
want to go down the same path again? That's at the end. That's the crux of it. Do we want to go down the same path again, where we're tying so much cap to one player?
But this is the thing. If I'm Cripps, if I'm Cripps,
you can speak in a minute. You
If
haven't
I'm,
said anything.
if I'm Cripps and I'm list management, I'm going, boys, you're on X amount roughly, because obviously maybe they do or don't know. You're on X amount, you're on X amount, you're on X amount. Mate, we're taking $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 unders or an amount. We're redoing all our contracts so then we can get players in so we can win this cup. That's what we're doing. But they're not doing that at the moment, man. They're selfish. It's selfish.
Yeah, the
selfish
thing
play.
is-
And you can see it because when they go out there, mate, on the yesterday, selfish footy.
It was
That wasn't
selfish
selfless.
yesterday. Yeah.
It was selfish.
We'll come back to that in a minute. You finish.
No,
this
it's
off.
starting the comp. We don't need to keep. We've gone 10 minutes with this.
On selfish footy, because it was yesterday. How the thing that I can't wrap my head around with this team, right, is how can they go from playing the way they did 6 days prior, selfless. We came on here Monday night, last Monday, and the three of us spoke about how selfless it was. And they're starting to play as a team again. They look cohesive, look connected. They go from that, and within 6 days, they regress so far that they lose by 10 fucking goals.
It's fucking Joe. I said it before. That is coaching, because the Adelaide coach has come in. He's done his fucking homework, and we have not changed anything. And the fact that we selected Doc, put Cowan as a sub, and fucking Lewis Young is coaching as well.
Well,
and that's where we lost
correct.
it.
Selection,
It's coaching in the sense that I felt like as if the players, it was obviously selfish footy, but they felt defeated. They did not know what to do. They did not know what to do.
Yeah, they gave up.
Even Voss in his presser, he actually said that they actually had to make it up. He said that in his presser. Go watch it back. Make it up? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You have situation. The ball's in the back half, in the back pocket. Yeah, it's a kick out. You have mechanisms that you're going to try and pull the trigger on this kick, that kick, or another kick. Like if it's a ball up on the wing, this is the type of scenario and situation that we want. Whether the opposition, this is where they tap it in those situations. This is where we're going to tap it.
Well, I'll say it again.
What do you mean made up? They literally had no idea what to do.
Jules,
Yeah,
they
Adelaide,
had an
and Adelaide
answer.
were clearly well oiled coming into that game. They were
Because the
well-oiled
coach
machine.
did his homework, man.
Yeah.
They understand how to play Carlton. And we had no reply. We had nothing.
I'll go back to it. You can't just say, all right, clearances, and that's the be all and end all, because that is not modern day football. The top four sides have different elements of their game, and you can't just rely on
But
one.
you should be able, if we are dominant through clearance and stoppage, Michael Voss needs to have an avenue to be able to get that back on side.
Agreed.
What are you doing to get that back on side? Because clearly we tick when that's happening.
I agree with that.
So what is he
you gotta
doing
make it an arm wrestle to
as a
get the
coach?
momentum back.
What is he doing as a coach to get that back on
Yeah,
side?
I can agree with that.
Because clearly, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. You have to have other avenues to win. Because if you're relying on one, but we don't. We've had how many fucking podcasts have we had where we have said we don't have any other avenue to win?
Yeah, it's true.
Well,
So
then,
if that's your number one,
if that's the case, then pack up the season.
no, Jules, because coach it to get it back on side. Why did we not get an extra number at the contest?
I'm also not packing this in, by the way. I'm just going to say.
I'm
right
not packing
now.
up the season,
No.
but I'm just saying, yeah, if you're just going to rely on one type of facet of the game to try and win us games, to try get us in the top 8, try to get us in the top 4, try to win us the premiership, it's not happening.
Can I
Put
challenge
Motlop
that?
in there.
Hold on.
Put Motlop in the middle. What's he gonna? What
Can I
time
challenge
is he gonna
that?
turn?
Can I challenge that? We scored 96. No, sorry. Against Geelong. Not Geelong. Fuck. North Melbourne. 96 points off turnover. Is that right? And then last week against Geelong, I
Yeah,
think
but it all would have been repeat entries, forward half. It wouldn't have been transition from D50.
No, not transition from D50. But I think last week against Geelong, we had more score from turnover as well. Versus
Yeah,
stoppage.
it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but of course you're going to have that.
So that's the balance.
Yeah.
That's the
Joe, of
profile.
course
Yeah,
you're going to have
but
more
that's natural.
That's the
right.
balance of the
Natural.
profile. That's the balance of the profile that you want, right? So in a game against Adelaide, right, where we're not winning stoppage, where does that desire and that hunger and that pressure and everything that we saw against Geelong to arm wrestle back momentum, to turn the ball over in our forward half, to turn the ball over in our back half, to try and get momentum, where did that go? Because forget about stoppage. If we scored the majority of our points against North and Geelong from turnover, that's not stoppage. Regardless of where that happens in the ground, that comes from pressure and intent. Where was it yesterday? So you can talk about coaching all you want, and I agree on some of those points, I do. But at the end of the day, if you're going to score off turnover, regardless of whether it's transition, regardless of whether it's in the front half, that comes
Joe,
from
the
the desire
clearances-
to compete and your intent.
Where they
Yes or
belted
no?
us in clearances was centre clearance. So they've got the ball, they've kicked it inside their forward 50. So therefore, you need to be able to transition the ball from D50 to our forward 50.
Agree with that.
was the issue of the
Agree
game.
with that.
That
Agree
was
with
the
that.
issue. The issue wasn't stoppage clearances around the ground. It was centre. They had plus 10.
But how often?
Jules,
Centre
they're going at
clearances.
80% by foot.
Yeah.
You know what that
Yeah,
tells
no,
me?
that's
There was
pressure.
zero pressure.
Correct.
No pressure. This is my point. I don't even remember that many times where we had the opportunity to go from D50 off a turnover, because I don't remember us actually forcing a turnover that often. This is the point. When we didn't have ball in hand yesterday, there was no intent. There was a lack of desire from the entire playing group to try and get the ball back on our terms. It just didn't feel like it in any facet of the game, in any area of the ground that they wanted to
So,
compete to that
I
level.
agree.
Do
Because
you agree or not?
I agree.
Turnovers.
Because
Give me a passage of play off the top of your head where you remember us going, oh fuck, we were out there and we fucked it up from a poor kick into the corridor. I don't actually remember that happening too often, because I don't remember us actually having the ball that often. You've got to turn the ball over first to be able to give yourself that avenue from D50. We
turnovers-
didn't want the ball.
Turnovers 58 at 61.
Who?
So we had 61 turnovers.
They had 58.
They had 58.
Same amount of turnovers.
Exactly.
Yeah, but at what point, regardless of whether we had the same amount of turnovers or not,
Yeah.
at what point did we take advantage of that to get ourselves into a position where we could actually go? Because I don't remember us ever. There wasn't a time yesterday where I was frustrated, going, "My God, that's such an easy passage of play for so many other teams to hit a target in the corridor, to hit a target out wide, to switch the ball." There was just nothing. There was nothing. I don't remember a single passage of play.
I remember Motlop missing a target.
Well, I mean,
I remember Motlop missing a target inside the corridor, and then it went one way and they scored. Subpar.
they're killing me. They're actually killing me. They're killing me.
I thought you weren't worried about the game.
I wasn't until we started talking about it, and now I'm just fucking.
Of course you have to be worried about the game.
It was terrible.
It was dog shit.
It was terrible. It was disgusting.
So, all right. Let's talk about, before we talk about players, I just want to ask one question to both of you. Based on yesterday, based on the context of the season and the way that we've lost our games, are you looking at yesterday as an anomaly? Because the first time we've conceded 100, first time we've lost by a decent margin. Are you looking at it as an anomaly until we go into the Saints, or are you now concerned for the big? Do you have a much greater concern for the bigger picture? Do you think we're going to bounce back against the Saints in Sydney over the next 2 weeks?
For me, it's an anomaly in terms of I don't think we're going to concede that much over the course of the season. But do I think that we're going to put our right foot forward and change the season? No.
My concern is the depth. That's my concern. I just don't think we're going to be competitive because we just don't have it. I really believe it. I've seen it for what it is.
3 players go out yesterday.
Three players
come
went
in,
out.
and it just looked completely different.
Unless we can keep continuity with the side close to
Top 25 have to be healthy.
correct. And if it's not, see you later. Because to be honest with you, Voss can't coach it any other way.
He actually, to be honest, Voss actually said this in his
He
press
can't
conference
coach it any other
last
way if
week.
they're not available.
He actually said this in the
Simple, I've
press
seen
conference,
it.
which I've raised my eyebrows at because I'm going, geez, it's a bit weird to hear. He said something along the lines of, I don't know the game any other way. It's contest and pressure. It's the way he played the game, obviously. But he literally said it in the press conference. I don't know the game any other way.
Yeah, but that's why we have assistant coaches. So
Well,
what are
of
they
course.
doing?
Yeah, so what are they doing?
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What
This is
are
I'm
assistant
saying.
coaches doing then?
Yeah.
You need to have
Because
different
they're the
facets,
ones that are actually building their own lines with how they want to go about it. They're not.
Can we still play finals from here?
Yeah, I think so. The competition. This is the thing.
Yeah, it's so close.
The
You win 3
competition
games
is so
and see you
close.
later.
You're back in. We said it. Me and
Agreed.
Jules before the game.
Yeah.
You win 3 games in a row, you could be top 8.
Are we going to beat this? Are we going to beat the Saints this week? Based on
actually,
what you're saying.
This is make or break.
correct.
Yeah, clearly it's an elimination final almost for us
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. This is make or break Friday night.
Yeah,
It's Friday night.
it is. Let's talk about some. What other players do you want to pinpoint? We've spoken about Tom. Spoken about obviously Doc, Young, Cowan as the 3 that came in.
Well, we spoke about Chair and Walsh because I just think having 6 disposals each by half time
not good enough.
is not good enough.
Yeah. George Hewitt again was just. He's the only one I looked at and went, "You want to be there. You want to be out there."
Yeah. Yeah.
This
He
is the
started
thing.
slow though. He
He did start slow, but once he came into it,
Everyone
he
did.
he was competing, right? And this,
Yeah.
I look at him and I go, "Well, if you can do it, where are the other 17?" This is the thing.
He-
It's
he
the
wants to do
basic.
it.
It's the foundation. It's just the foundation of wanting to compete. If you can compete, where's the rest of them? Haynes, I thought was really good. To be honest,
Haynes
I
was
thought he was really good again.
To be honest with you, I went down the list of who played, and I gave tick, tick, tick to players.
So who have you got?
I got Elijah Hollins, tick. For what he got in terms of some like moments, he looked very good for me.
He's good with ball in hand.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Because
Go on.
to be fair,
Fuck.
Yeah.
He laced out this. I think it was Charlie or Motts in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter in the corridor. Something
so and obviously playing half forward, the game very difficult for him
to get
Okay.
involved. Yeah.
Durden still be able to kick 2 goals, and you can still see that he was like hunting as well, like in terms of his pressure when it went down there. Cripps 2 goals, 25 touches,
Do what he
but
needs to do.
defensively, for me, not non-existent.
He gets exposed.
but, yeah, he
does
wasn't
get
good,
exposed.
wasn't good
By
enough.
a bit of pace, he gets exposed.
Obviously, Weeders did have a couple of moments. I think Dawson marked on him.
He kept Philthorpe pretty quiet. It was Philthorpe he was mostly
Yeah.
on?
Who?
He was on
Walker.
Philthorpe. He was
It
on Philthorpe.
Riley.
Young was on text, and that was probably a thing
Weeds.
where
He
they should have.
He kept Philthorpe
Yeah,
quiet.
but
There's only so much you can do as a defender.
yeah, but that should have been flipped probably
Pretty quick. Yeah.
earlier.
Agree.
We just should have gone to text. I think Kerno was okay for again what he had. Still be
True.
able to kick 2 goals. I think Ollie Hollands tried. Still at 18-20 in terms of like pressure and stuff. He was pretty good. And Haynes.
Haynes was.
That
I
was
thought
it.
he was. I thought he was.
I
brilliant.
actually think H's game was compromised by not going into ruck contest.
I agree
For sure,
100%.
he couldn't get into the game. I'm not looking at Harry. I know I've already heard a few comments about Harry yesterday. I'm going, how short are people's memories?
Well,
He
we
won
did.
us the
Jules and I
fucking
did
game
say
last
it was
week.
poor.
Yeah.
He played poor, but it
But,
doesn't
hey,
help him
how-
not being involved.
But not only
Absolutely.
that, what do you expect the guy to do when the midfield isn't working and when the inside 50 entries were the way that they were? What do you want your key forward to do?
You know what I
a
don't
bigger loss
understand?
than what we thought was Cotters.
Yeah,
absolutely.
huge.
Cotters
Yeah.
was
Absolutely.
huge.
And Williams, bloke, both
Yeah.
of them are half forward flankers
Yeah.
that are putting the ball inside 50 with a bit of nous and a bit of smarts about them. You take both of them out, you put in Doc and Cowan. There's no forward 50 entry there. Like you're
This is
not
what I'm
replacing
saying.
them with anyone.
But
that
like
can
in
do the
terms
same
of
thing.
replacements, there was none like
This is a
alike.
concern.
Like for like.
Like for
look
like.
down our list. Who have we got?
You
We've
could-
got no
Yeah,
one,
but Joe, I'm at the
man.
point where you have to like.
You have to play more. You have to play
if that's-
bins. It's
correct.
like for like. They're doing it in the VFL. That's the
I'm with you.
Yeah,
position.
but my understanding is from the chat, they ain't performing in
I
the
don't
VFL.
give a damn.
They're not.
Joe.
The VFL got slapped by Cobra
I get it,
today.
but what are you going to do? You're going to bring Doc, who performs at VFL level because he just knows how to get the footy, but shows zero effort. Like, what are you going to do?
How do you know what 3 to 4 games of AFL football does for a player like that? You got no idea.
Yeah, I get that too. I understand that.
You don't know what a player could become like a Moya if he's actually getting 4 to 5 games. But no, we go with the same thing all the time, and the results are the same, and we come here on a Sunday and talk about the same shit.
It's true. What, you couldn't put
Do you have
Camperale
Durden
as a
on that
sub?
list?
He's there. I can
Who?
see his
Do you have
notes.
Durden with a tick?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
I
good.
mentioned his name.
Do
I
you
said
have
he kicked 2
Motlop?
goals.
Do you have Motlop on that list?
No chance.
Yeah, we spoke about Jesse last week. I don't know. Do you want to talk about him again?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
You go.
Because,
I don't waste my time.
What do you want to talk about?
so are you still on the board that you should have him in the midfield?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm not going to change that.
That's not changing for me.
I think
It's
because
just not.
Did you see how many tackles did he lay?
I think 2. Anyway,
Doesn't lay a tackle, he
listen,
runs past them. So you want to defend from the
Do
you
you
want to
know
defend?
what the thing is for me? I think again the actual midfield not working just impacts him like a lot.
No
more.
shit, because
Obviously.
if you've got an incompetent midfielder around him, what is he going to do?
Yeah, you can't do
He's
anything.
not doing
Seriously.
but when you're getting easy disposal and you're giving it away, what is that?
Guys, honestly, I genuinely think it's very hard for Mott's at the moment. It's hard. He can't do anything right in the eyes of most fans. He
Yeah.
just
Lige
can't.
can.
Because he's not... Yeah, but hold on. Lige isn't playing with the expectation that we thought he was going to kick 30 goals this year. Think about it. And Mott's... But hold on. So coming into the season, we go, who's going to replace Owies 30? Motlop. Yep, it's Motlop's time, right? But he's playing in a role where he's not necessarily just a small forward.
He's not close
trying
to goal.
do.
I
He's
know, but
trying
is
to
he
do so
executing
much
the
more.
basics
Yeah.
even when he's doing
Genuinely,
his
yeah.
role?
Do you agree with that or not?
No, I agree.
So
Yeah.
this guy's never ever this. I can't see him actually getting a fair crack from the supporters this year because we have the there's an expectation from the fans of what we want him to be doing, and he's not being given the opportunity to do that because
All I'm saying-
he's doing something else. Does that make sense?
I'm bringing up
Well,
again.
he's not close to goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not even nailing the basics of his role. He's not. Anyway, you don't agree? Move on. I don't care.
No, I agree. I
but
agree. He's not.
He's not
But
nailing the
but
basics.
Who's going to do
You haven't
it?
got him as a tick.
Who's
So,
going to do
so
it?
who goes into the midfield?
You haven't got him as a tick on your
who's
list.
gonna do it?
Who goes
gonna
into
do it?
who goes into the midfield to replace him right now?
You say you want Motts in there for a bit of speed. Why not try? Why not try? Say when Cotters is fit, why not try Cotters? Why not try Hollands? Ollie. Why not try? Why not try?
Because I think there's a reason as to why.
But Joe, what's Motlop producing?
But you have to give him time. You have to.
We don't have time. We got slapped by fucking 60 points against Adelaide. What time? What time? Well, then go play Moya. You're saying that you can't play these players. Go play Moya then, because he's got time. Go play Binns. He's got time.
True. True. All right, fair.
Nah, go.
To be honest with you, I don't know how Binns isn't like given a go.
Hey, were you shocked that Fogg was the one that got subbed?
Yes.
Don't even talk about
Can I ask
it.
a question? How is like we didn't have Young playing last week as a second ruck. Like maybe let's get Harry more involved, get him in the ruck, and take Young off. Yes or no? And maybe have a bit of a run because we're obviously not winning the ball around that, like, you know, obviously from the clearance. So let's try something different.
You just made Simo laugh a lot.
I don't care. Can we just get on to the Saints? Can we please?
Yeah,
because they are
I've
shit.
Got no Livy tonight. I do apologise.
Did Livy not do it?
No, she did. I just didn't get time. She sent it like this morning. I didn't have time with olives and that today. I didn't get the time. Oh,
Oliver's at 2:00.
sorry.
Anyway.
Well, fuck. Didn't see
Time
one
did you
of-
wake up?
Didn't see one of you two put your hand up to fucking do it this week. So anyway.
What time did you wake up?
No, I climbed this morning till 12, and then I went did olives straight away, and then I came straight here. I've barely been home. So anyway, so I do apologise to Livy.
Did you message her?
I did.
Apologise?
I sent her a thumb, and I said
Why didn't you put her clip on the socials?
I can do that during the week.
See, innovative.
Yeah, do you want to put it together?
Tell me how to do it. I'll do it.
You can't
It'll
learn
be
yourself.
double handling.
You can't learn yourself. Yeah, literally, you're going to sit there. I'm going to go, yeah, do this, this, and this. Shut up. Yeah, right. Let's talk about the Saints.
They're not good.
They're not. They just belted
I
for
don't care. Not a fan.
Yeah, they're actually like us. They're very inconsistent.
Freo are the same as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very. Those three, and Essendon. So that group of four, we're in that group that's going to be fighting for eighth. But whoever gets in, you're not going to do any damage at this point. You're
Their
out first
midfield,
week.
I'll tell you why. Especially against us, their midfield doesn't have speed. Unless you talk about Sinclair rolling through there, but I actually don't think
Sinclair
he has.
usually gives us. A
But
high.
but he hasn't been rolling through
Nah,
the
usually
midfield as
it's
much.
halfback flank, but
That's right.
yeah.
McRae,
Go.
slow,
Yeah, but go.
but slow.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Steele.
By the way, Tom's going to have his best game for the year this week. You want my guarantee for the week? He's going to rip this game to shreds. Guarantee.
And then they're going to offer him
Oh,
$2
yeah.
million.
Give me that fucking money. He is going to tear it to shreds.
And
this
then we're going to
week.
spend 30 minutes on how
Yeah.
he's not worth $2 million.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, keep going. McRae, Sinclair,
Who else they got through there?
Bradley Hill goes through there. Jack Steele, he's a ball winner, but he's not really the player that he used to be.
So it's another midfield that
Nazaya Wanganeen Miller.
Not a midfielder.
No,
He's a
but
gun.
he's the one that I look at.
He's
that
a
can
gun.
absolutely tear
very
us
good.
up.
He's so
If
good.
I
his
played
ball use.
footy,
That's the
I'd play
player.
like him. I reckon I'd be.
You'd like to play
No,
like him.
I would. I'm telling you, Jules.
That was Jules at Glen Orton when he was 10, off
Jules,
half back. Yes or no? Hitting
Hey,
targets.
So that's the type of player that you need.
Why are you laughing?
We need.
Agree.
Not you.
So I absolutely agree that we need to go get 2 of him.
Yeah, we need footballers.
Someone that
can
can
genuinely
actually
run
hit a target.
and kick the ball.
Kane Farrell. I want to talk about this later in the season. I've got genuine trade targets already. Kane Farrell.
That's concerning.
I know, but
How are you looking that far
That's
ahead?
Because we
concerning.
talk about
You've
every...
given up.
No, I haven't.
He
But
has.
hold on, but if you...
If you're doing that,
Oh, all right,
agree.
because
You've given
neither
up.
of you have spoken about trades once this season.
Never.
Never.
I don't.
I've got text messages. Be very careful. Be
I don't
very
think I
have. I don't think I
careful.
have.
I think I might have at the start of the
Be very careful.
start of the
start of the season, but 1 week in, you've given up. Anyway, I agree. Nazaya Wanganeen Miller, he's one. At the moment, their forwards don't scare me outside of Jack Higgins. Is he still leading the Common? He was leading the Common last
He
week.
kicked what?
Was he?
Yeah.
Did he kick 3 or 2 on the
He's
week?
leading the Common. He's
kicked
kicked
3.
multiple goals in every game or something. It's crazy. So obviously you got to match up with him, but you'd hope that Sard could do a fucking job. Or Cowan, like
Someone.
it's Jack Higgins, man. Like how have teams not been able to shut him down to this point? I don't get it. Who else?
Well, King's out
Cal
as well.
Wilkie. He's a
King's
good
out.
player. Max
Wilkie.
King is out. Cal Wilkie.
What was the... What's the winger they have?
The
Did it a
Saints.
hole through me.
The Saints don't use the ball well. That's
Yeah.
another one.
What's the winger they've got? He used to play VFL.
Mason
Or-
Wood.
Yeah, Mason Wood.
No, he's injured. I got him in my
Oh,
super
he's injured.
coach.
He was injured this week. I'm not sure if he's going to be back.
So ins and outs.
Hold on. Firstly, do you also see the Saints as another team like Adelaide for us, where we just haven't matched that well against them in the last
Sorry?
few years?
I don't think... it
They're
shouldn't
a bogey
nah.
team.
They are.
They are.
Yeah,
a bogey
they
team.
are, but it shouldn't matter. We should win.
I think if
Should
you
we not
match-
win?
We should on paper. we absolutely should. But I've looked at us the last 4 years against the Saints, and we can't get the job done. I don't know why. We just can't.
It's a mental thing, that's why.
Cooper Sharman, I think, has been doing all right for them,
He
actually.
kicked like 4
Yeah.
against Freo or something. And he kicked like
I
a
think
goal
he's
of the
pretty-
year.
I think he's
as
pretty
well.
dangerous. Still reckon they're shit. I don't rate him. I don't rate the Saints.
I don't think many people do.
I don't.
I don't know how you can. You know why? You know why that team is doing what it's doing? Because they got Ross Lyon, who just knows how to get the most out of any list. He's done it for years.
Yeah.
Done it for years. Give him a shit list, he'll make him competitive. That's it. Just at least competing. So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm not sure about this week. I think we'll win. Anyway, ins and outs. Jack might be back.
Will or might?
Might. They've said up to 2 weeks, but it was 1 to 2. So
Well,
you'd
if he's
hope
on-
to
if
Two
he's
get.
weeks
available.
or game? Or 1 or 2 games?
They said 1 to 2 weeks.
So 2 weeks is in.
Well, it should be based on when he had surgery.
Sunday to Saturday?
Sunday
to Friday.
Yeah.
They'll rush him back.
Surely you can get like a cast or something.
Just play.
You should be able to.
Cast and
Or a
all
bionic.
fucking game.
or a
Just
bionic arm.
fucking fist
Or a
everything.
50-metre kick.
Ins and outs. Obviously, Doc out. We can agree on that.
Yeah.
Do you, is this a game that, I mean, knowing what we've done in the
What's-
past,
what-
I can't see us dropping too many players. This
What's
week.
Cottrell done?
Um,
What did he do?
Oh, actually,
Injury-wise.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
We're talking
We
about
don't know.
today, and he didn't do it in the
Do the
Geelong
listeners
game.
know what Cottrell was injured
Because
for?
did he do it in the Geelong game?
I'm going to say calf,
Because I don't even know.
but I'm not quite. I'm
But
not
was it done in the
100% on
Geelong
that.
game, or was it done
It was
in-
done during the week
Yeah,
at training.
ankle,
Ankle.
the listeners are saying.
Ankle.
Yeah.
What? And just rolled it 2 weeks?
Well, it must be-
month. What is it?
I would assume he's going to be a test this week. He'll be a test.
All right. If he's a test, he's in.
Yeah.
Savani in.
Who's out? So Doc's out.
Doc and Young are out.
Young. Yep.
And then the sub could be a. Trying to think. I don't want it to be Cowan again.
Nah.
Probably Lord.
Yeah, probably Lord.
Do you bring Boyd in?
What's
Do you
even
bring
going
a,
on with
do you
Boyd?
bring do you bring a Bins in?
He's playing the VFL.
He's playing the
yeah.
VFL, but apparently he's just not up to scratch. From what I'm understanding, he's not up to scratch.
What's Pito doing?
Well,
What's Pito doing?
let's talk about Big
I
Pit.
love Pito.
He's played 3 games of VFL now, and apparently he's been moving all right. He looks all right. Do you play 2 rucks?
Can we play 2 rucks now?
Well,
with
do you not just go fuck it? Let's try something different. We've had 1 ruck for 8 rounds, and we're 3 and 5. Everyone last year when we run one ruck and we were 9-0 in those games, everyone wanted to
Not
shout from the
again.
rooftops. But now we're 3-5 through 8, and no one wants to talk about it. Why don't we try 2 rucks this week against Rowan Marshall?
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you not?
I said his name for a reason.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind seeing Big Pit back.
I
out
wouldn't
there.
mind Pitto
Big
back
Pit
in.
gives just a little bit of energy.
I actually think if we had Pitto against O'Brien, it would have maybe.
No shit,
been
because
a
the
different
same.
avenue.
They agree, because he would have thrown his body around.
We did it last year. We brought him in. Remember? Was it against Briggs? Similar type ruckman.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is the week for Pitto. And he just played Tom Ford a little bit more.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know. For me, it's too tall.
Jules,
You're gonna have 4 key defenders, 3 key forwards,
tall.
and 1 ruck. Essentially, that's what
It
you
is.
have. A third of your team.
Hold on. Have we not
is
did we not do that for the
195
majority of
plus.
the year at this point? When
year.
Kemp was in? With 3 keys.
Yeah, but
4
Kemp's
at the
not
back.
Kemp's a hybrid. He's not a key.
Is Tom a hybrid? Do we not just talk about Tom as a hybrid?
He's not a hybrid. He's a ruckman.
Now he's not a hybrid.
He's a
It's the
ruckman.
same shit.
He's a ruckman.
I want Pitt. You know what? I want Big Pitt in. I want to see Big Pitt this week. I think I do. And you know what? Drop Akers at this point. Let him find some form. Who cares? Who cares at this point?
put Motts as a sub.
Do something different. No. Do something different after 10-goal loss. Or what? We're just going to roll out the same. Yeah, you got slapped by 10 goals. Go again.
Just be careful hitting the table, Joe. You stuff up the mic. So
You know you do it so many times and I bite my tongue.
the
in an
listeners
episode.
know. Can they feel it?
What's your predictions?
Carlton 35.
Do you have to predict?
Carlton 35.
You're that confident?
Yeah.
All right, Carlton by 21.
I'm not even going to give on. You guys,
That's so
you know
weak.
why?
That's
Because every time I do, you go, you turn around and go, see, he had to save for what he won. He had to make it closer. It doesn't matter what I say.
Oh, it's like when I do my podcast.
All
That
right.
my
So you know what I'm going to
portion-
say? I'm just going to say Carlton by 21. I'm with Jules. Is that right?
You can't do that.
Oh, now I don't have an opinion. See?
No, because you're
Can't
bringing
do
up
that.
something that you do. I do my the segment, and he goes, "Oh, well, that wasn't really riveting." So what am I doing it then?
Speaking of which,
Keep calm. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10.
Not happy, Dan!
Not Happy Dan, proudly
Neck
brought
pillows.
to you and sponsored by Airsy Travel Neck Pillows, AIRZE travel.com. You can hit them up on Instagram. You get your neck pillows there. I'm very much looking forward to using that in a few weeks' time.
Most
You
comfortable
used
pillows.
it last week. You said it was good.
Most comfortable pillows.
Neck pillows.
I actually swapped out my normal bed pillow for this, so now I sleep upright. I do. I do.
He sleeps standing up.
And I didn't tell Lauren, so when she woke up in the middle of the night, Alessandra crying. I'm like,
Can you go on with your second?
okay. So I was in the Epworth in Richmond, and I was parking.
When was this?
3 weeks ago?
So he's still rolling through his list.
I am, yeah.
All right, go.
Well, I've been things have been good, generally.
In your life. Go on, yeah. You can
that bad?
take. You can take.
Anyway, so obviously my ute is quite long, so I've gone to like reverse park into a spot. Can see there's someone in their car in front of the spot that I want to park in. Now, generally, you'd have a bit of wits about you for that person to go, "Fuck, maybe," because the car was on their car. So I was trying to put it. Obviously, it was too big. I couldn't make it work. But if she moved forward,
You could make it work.
yeah.
Knock
Sort
on the
of
window.
There, looking across. Like this. Beep, but like a nice little beep, not aggressive. Looks at me. I go, "Can you go forward like that? Go forward so I can." Oh, on the phone. Back on the phone. I drive off. Joe, I drive off. Guess what she does? Pulls out, leaves.
Yeah.
Pulls out and left.
That's all right. That's fine. Bang.
Pulls out and left. Genuine. That is a genuine. Do you know what I did?
You know what she did?
Took the spot.
Nah. Someone else took it before I could go back around and get it.
She took the piss out of you.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate people just sitting in their car, like on their phone.
No,
What are you
especially
doing?
when the car's off, no problem. Turn
Car's
to
on.
me and go, no, actually, listen, I'm going to be here. I'm just going to go. If you have the intention to leave, just leave.
Yeah.
Not good enough from society.
Speaking of society, do you want to talk about the election? Or? It doesn't take a genius to work out what side of the spectrum we all sit on in this podcast, I think. Go on, if you want to say it. You can give Australia a nice little message that you gave me today. But anyway,
Go Blues.
yeah. We'll see you next week.